Today in history, we're diving into August 23rd, a date that somehow manages to be a mixtape of human history's greatest hits. Uprisings, pacts with the devil, movie stars, basketball legends, and, oh yeah, 2 million people holding hands across 3 countries just to prove the Soviets sucked at geography. August 23rd isn't just another box on your calendar. It's a crash course in humanity's capacity for freedom, injustice, and occasionally singing in the rain. Let's break it down, segment by segment. Segment 1, the cry for freedom, Wallace, Haiti, and the Baltic Way. On August 23, 1305, William Wallace was executed in London for daring to suggest that maybe Scotland didn't need to be ruled by some English guy with a bad haircut named Edward I. And when I say executed, I don't mean a quick guillotine. Oh no, Wallace was hanged, drawn, and quartered. The British Crown basically invented medieval performance art. Wallace's head was put on a pike over London Bridge. His limbs were mailed out like Amazon Prime warnings to Scotland. And here's the kicker. Edward I thought this would scare people into obedience. Instead, Scotland went, "Cool story, bro," and doubled down. Moral of the story? Brutality makes martyrs. Also, maybe don't quarter your PR problem. Fast forward to 1791. Enslaved people in Haiti decided enough was enough. They lit plantations on fire, killed overseers, and kicked off the only successful slave rebellion in history. This wasn't just a revolt, it was the start of Haiti's independence. Fun fact, it began with a voodoo ceremony. That's right, freedom began with drumming and dancing in the moonlight. Meanwhile, in France, people were like, liberty, equality, fraternity. For us, you guys keep working. The Haitians responded, yeah, no, we're good. And the world has been ignoring their achievement ever since. Jump to 1989. 2 million people formed the Baltic Way, a human chain stretching across Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. Imagine millions of people holding hands to protest Soviet rule. It's like Hands Across America, except instead of awkward suburbanites, it was 3 nations telling Moscow, we're done. And unlike America's version, this actually worked. Segment 2, the geopolitics of power, pacts, proclamations, and Stalingrad. On August 23, 1939, Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union signed the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. Basically, Hitler and Stalin said, let's be friends until we're not, and in the meantime, let's divvy up Poland like it's a pizza. The secret protocol literally drew lines on a map, like 2 drunk guys playing Risk. 1 week later, boom, World War II. So yes, your entire high school history textbook about World War II technically started at a cocktail party in Moscow. But that's not the only declaration on this date. Back in 1775, King George III issued his Proclamation of Rebellion. Basically, the king said, congrats, America, you're officially in open rebellion. Colonists read that and went, cool, guess we're a country now. It's the diplomatic equivalent of your boss calling you a traitor and you responding by starting your own company. Then there's August 23rd, 1942, the day the Battle of Stalingrad really began. The Luftwaffe bombed the city into rubble, killing 40,000 civilians in 1 day. But here's the irony. That rubble actually gave Soviet defenders cover, turning every burned-out basement into a fortress. The Germans basically provided home renovation for guerrilla warfare. DIY urban combat, sponsored by Hitler's bad planning. Segment 3, the scales of justice, Sacco, Vanzetti, and memory. On August 23, 1927, Nicola Sacco and Bartolomeo Vanzetti, 2 Italian immigrants, were executed for a murder many historians agree they probably didn't commit. Their trial was riddled with anti-immigrant hysteria and Red Scare paranoia. The jury didn't convict them for evidence, they convicted them for being Italian anarchists, which in the 1920s was considered worse than being a Yankees fan in Boston. Despite worldwide protests, despite another guy confessing to the crime, they were still set to the electric chair. America's justice system, sometimes blind, often racist, and occasionally plugged into a wall socket. But history tried to fix itself. 50 years later, Massachusetts Governor Michael Dukakis issued a proclamation admitting they didn't get a fair trial. Imagine waiting 50 years for the government to say, our bad. That's not justice, that's a historical version of an Apple software update. Oops, sorry, we deleted your files in 1927, here's a patch. Segment 4, Leaps of Ingenuity, Moonshots, Web Pages, and India's Giant Leap. On August 23, 1966, NASA's Lunar Orbiter 1 took the first photo of Earth from the moon's orbit. For the first time, humanity saw its home as a fragile little crescent in the void. Cue environmentalists saying, "See, this is why you should recycle." Meanwhile, polluters looked at the same photo and said, "Cool, lots of black space left to dump trash." Jump ahead to 1991. The World Wide Web became publicly available. Yes, the internet birthday is August 23rd, which means the day we got memes, cat videos, and QAnon all rolled into one. Tim Berners-Lee envisioned a platform for sharing scientific knowledge. Instead, we built Reddit threads about whether a hot dog is a sandwich. Humanity, ladies and gentlemen. And in 2023, India became the first country to land near the moon's south pole with Chandrayaan-3. America landed on the moon decades ago, but India said, "Cool, but did you try the weird icy part?" Suddenly, space isn't just a Cold War dick measuring contest, it's a global multiplayer game. NASA, China, India, Elon Musk, they're all fighting over lunar real estate like it's Monopoly. Someone's about to put a Starbucks next to a crater. Segment 5, The Tapestry of Culture, Valentino, Kelly, and Kobe. August 23rd has also been shaped by culture. In 1926, silent film star Rudolph Valentino died at just 31. His death caused mass hysteria, riots, women fainting, suicides, basically the original Belieber meltdown. Except instead of bad tattoos, it was black veils and fainting couches. He was the first true movie idol, the Latin lover, and his death proved that celebrity worship existed long before Twitter. On the same date in 1912, Gene Kelly was born. The man danced with umbrellas, animated mice, and his own reflection. He reinvented dance for film, making it athletic, masculine, and somehow less creepy than Fred Astaire waltzing with a coat rack. Without Gene Kelly, musicals would still look like aristocrats tiptoeing around ballrooms. Instead, we got a guy stomping in puddles with jazz hands. Progress. And then in 1978, Kobe Bryant was born. One of the greatest basketball players of all time. 5 championships, Mamba mentality, and post-retirement, he even won an Oscar. Imagine being so good at basketball that you retire and casually win Academy Awards. Meanwhile, the rest of us struggle to win an argument on Twitter. Kobe embodied competitive masculinity, but he also became a creative storyteller and a devoted father, proving that even in sports, evolution happens. In conclusion, the tapestry of August 23. So, what does August 23 teach us? That one date can hold the brutality of empire, the spark of revolution, the absurdity of bad legal systems, and the joy of dance, sports, and exploration. It's a reminder that history isn't linear. It's a mess. On August 23, humanity quartered a man, freed a nation, divided a continent, invented the internet, and dunked on Father Time. Basically, August 23 is like your weird uncle at Thanksgiving. Chaotic, contradictory, and unforgettable. And that's today in history.